fearing the power's cruel blow. Chains on our tongues, they bind tight. In the shadows we lose sight.
Eyes watch in the darkened night. Two-ticket rules with all might. Voices tremble, hearts in pain. Freedom feels like distant rain.
Oh, the fear that grips the soul when the night takes its toll. Prison bars for words we speak. Under shadows we grow weak.
Hushed cries in the midnight air. Lives caught in the web of despair. Each day a fearful game we play, hiding thoughts we dare not say.
Will the dawn break with a light, chase away this endless night? Or will shadows take our call and let our spirit fall? Oh, the fear that grips the soul when the night takes its toll. Prison bars for words we speak. Under shadows we grow weak.
Hushed cries in the midnight air. Lives caught in the web of despair. Each day a fearful game we play, hiding thoughts we dare not say.
Will the dawn break with light, chase away this endless night? Or will shadows take our call and let our spirit fall? Oh, the fear that grips the soul when the night takes its toll. Prison bars for words we speak. Under shadows we grow weak.
Yeah, you can cut that nonsense out, Dreadeye. I made a film for it once, but that's it. No more. Right. Good evening. Good evening. I thought I would just come on and have a chat and see how it goes. So well, I'll tell you what, I'll hold that back and see if we get some more people, because I found something quite juicy on Twitter. But yeah, we'll see if we get some more, if we can attract some more people to the stream before I disclose what I found. So I don't know if you've been watching the daily updates, but bloody hell, what the hell's going on in the world? It's gone nuts, hasn't it? There's so much happening just now that it's very difficult to keep up with things. What have we got? I don't even know if that astronaut Sunita's down yet. I know that she's certainly arranged an appointment with a hairdresser to get her roots done. Imagine being up there for 9 months and no dye. Oh dear. Anyway, so she's due to land tonight, I believe. That could mean any time. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure SpaceX's schedule, but I'm sure I can find out. What else is happening? Right, so the US had a massive tornado go through Alabama, wipe out towns, people. 39 people dead was the last count I saw. So I was getting completely battered. Not good at all. And if you live in that kind of area, let us know that you're okay, or even come on the show and talk about it. I don't mind bringing people on. if you want to talk about your experience, if whether it's good or bad, you may have a storm shelter, your house may have been spared or not, So it'd be quite interesting to hear first-hand accounts from people if that's what floats your boat. And California, Malibu had a 4.7 on the Richter scale. I'm not sure that that's terribly high for California because there was no reported damage, and it's built on a fault zone. One day it will slide into the sea. The entire state, I think. Well, everything west of the San Andreas. There's no doubt that probably wasn't the best place to build one of the most populous cities in the US, i.e. LA, or San Francisco even for that matter. So we'll see what happens there. Probably be all right in my lifetime, but it'll go at some point. When they sent the Dragon spacecraft up to dock with the ISS to get Sunita and Butch off the ISS, this guy Nick Hague, who's one of the astronauts that was replacing them or doing a stint or whatever, turned up with an alien mask on. Wow. Why? Sometimes I just wonder, people. I mean, you're going to be on world TV and you think it's a great idea to put an alien mask on as you open the hatch into the ISS. Yeah, okay. Whatever, nerds will be nerds. I think it was better when the military were running things. Did I really say that? I don't know. I think my volume's okay. I'm hoping it is. It was bizarre, wasn't it, Julie? Serbia had a massive protest against its government. Not against Elon Musk, not against Trump, which is what a lot of people were reporting on Twitter. But they had this massive, massive protest. And some are saying up to 1 million people. They're reporting 100,000. But this massive protest against their own government and the corruption within it. And then, I don't know if you saw the video, but suddenly they all scattered. Everybody scattered off the street. And I think they used a low-frequency audio weapon on the crowd to disperse them. Which is a bit naff, It was a peaceful protest. There was no real violence. In fact, I don't think there was any violence. It wasn't even a mostly peaceful protest. It was an actual peaceful protesters. And then suddenly, whoosh, this couldn't pick anything up on the video, but this ultra low frequency sound, I think, that just boom, wipes people out, makes them feel sick, makes them run away from it. And everybody I've never seen people clear a road so quickly. Pretty bad, pretty poor. Then there was a nightclub fire in Greece, which claimed 59 lives. These nightclubs are always a problem when it comes to people getting out. So that was quite bad. And then there's been all the stuff in Ukraine, and I think Russia's more or less kicked them all the way out of Kursk now. I think they're right back at the border. They might just have a little bit hanging on, but I'm not even sure if they've still got that. So Russia's kicked them out. It doesn't appear to be letting up yet, although apparently Trump and Putin have been on the phone for over 2 hours. So I wonder if he's getting a history lesson. That would be a joy, wouldn't it? If you've ever given them a history lesson. And then blah, blah, blah. And Trump's going, yeah, you have great history, Vlad, but, no. And then we did that. Yo, beats and types, how's it going, mate? So that would be quite cool as well. And then Trump goes and bombs Yemen. For what? I'm not quite sure. Because Yemen had said, They didn't want. They were blockading the Red Sea on the basis that why should other people get their supplies if Israel won't let anything go into Gaza? And maybe got a point. I mean, I'm all for taking a hard line, but there's such a thing as humanitarian. Being a little bit humanitarian, food and drink. And I'm not even talking about the hard stuff. They don't drink the hard stuff, do they? I'm just talking about water. But yeah, give them the hard stuff if they want. But yeah, so why they cut off all the supplies completely? What they're trying to do? Because the problem is, all you're doing is making what you're trying to eradicate. That's the problem when you're Israel. They're not curing any problems here. And to be fair, I think they've killed 40-odd thousand people, and everybody calls it genocide, but 2.5 million people in Gaza. But you can't, I think, for Israel to achieve what it wants to achieve, it needs to, you can't even say it, can you? It needs to just wipe everything out at source. And it can't do that because every time it strikes one down, it makes another one or two. Or it makes a family out of who's been struck. So it's very difficult way to do things. The whole situation was set up for failure, though, in the very first place, wasn't it? Putting that kind of enclave around what are shared symbols of the cults. It's just, the whole thing's a nightmare. And then, of course, you've got the Americans who are beholden to their really powerful lobbies politically. And, if they go against these lobbies, they don't get anything done because money just dries up. So while the American system of politics looks fairly good at first glance, 3 separate tiers of political leadership, legislative, judiciary, and executive, it doesn't really work like that, does it? When you've got all these lobbyists who have all the people in their pocket and then suddenly they're controlling votes. And even the president can only do so much if he's got both the legislative and the administrative against them, So, again, it's just a nightmare. It's a nightmare scenario, and I don't have a clue how to fix it unless you take away one of the protagonists. Because I can't see any quick way of solving this as an issue. And I think if you think there is a way of solving it, then you're maybe mistaken. I mean, it's even a little bit like Northern Ireland because, there's a truce there just now and a peace, so to speak, but still there's an undercurrent, isn't there? It's not quite right. Still a bit of give and take going on over there. Anyway, where were we? So Trump and Putin are talking. We'll see what comes out of that. Somebody said, everybody else should shut up and just let Trump manage Putin. Do you really think it's Trump that's doing the managing? I must admit, I think diplomatically, the Russians have definitely got the upper hand here. And on the ground, they now have the upper hand. It's very difficult for anyone to go against them. In both terms of politics and militarily, because they've got backers as well. You've got China standing at your back. And NATO's kind of tearing itself apart. Europe's not doing very good. It's one half wants to do one thing, one half wants to do the other. The Europeans have kind of been lulled into this, yeah, we want a ceasefire type trap almost by Trump, because if they're calling for a ceasefire, they can't really call for action, although some of them are. and these mad ideas about putting European peacemakers into Ukraine, that's just fraught with danger, isn't it? So I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. But then, well, it started off with me going on about why Trump has struck Yemen, because there didn't appear to be any real need for it. And then, of course, Yemen being the belligerent little kind of Yorkshire Terrier type people they are, even though they have nothing to do with Yorkshire or Terriers, they immediately started launching insults at the great Satan, the great Satan, United States, and they fired loads of missiles at the Harry S. Truman, which is an aircraft carrier. And according to some reports, not here, but some reports reckon the Harry S. Truman has been sunk up to 7 times, according to Yemen. Which would be quite a good trick. But what it has done is the Harry S. Truman has pulled off to about 1,300 kilometres out of the Red Sea, which is, a fair hike. What is that? Got to be about what? 800, 900 miles? Anyway, so it's a fair distance away, which probably takes it out with the range of much of Yemeni's missile force. And of course, the Yemen military were on Twitter giving it, we've made it retreat. It now can't mount raids against us, but I don't think they quite understand the range of the airplanes and the support mechanisms that are on that ship and the US Air Force, with tankers and whatever, airborne refueling. So apparently the Harry S. Truman's strike wing can quite comfortably do 1,800 kilometre strikes, so they're still within striking range of Yemen, but Yemen might not be in striking range of them. But Trump with his hyperbole again gives it, you will see fire that has never been rained upon you before. But when you look back at what Biden was doing, and Obama before him, they weren't holding back either. They were making plenty of glass in Yemen. The problem is, everything Yemen's got is mobile, nothing's fixed. So they're running about in trucks with their missiles and they fire them and then sod off. So by the time, no matter how good your reconnaissance is and no matter how good your strike capabilities are, by the time you actually get the info across to the planes, the trucks have gone, or they're hidden somewhere else. It's just, you can't really, even a global hegemon like the USA can't really do well against that kind of guerrilla tactic, that hit and run. And that's been proven time and time again. History has shown us that the USA doesn't do well against hit and run tactics. Korea turned into a big stalemate. Vietnam was a complete and utter loss. Afghanistan was a debacle. They can't do it. The war on terror just can't be fought that way. Unfortunately and horribly, I think the war on terror needs to be fought with terror if you want to actually achieve anything. And I think from one of our shows last week, the KGB one, that shows you what you can achieve. When KGB spies or a Russian diplomat was taken by Hezbollah, they basically took one of Hezbollah's family members and mailed him, not all at once, to the bad guys and said, you're next, or your wife's next, or your kids are next, and you really don't want to mess with the KGB. And I know they don't exist anymore, but, they got the job done. The diplomats were released within days. Days. So that shows you how to deal with that kind of thing. And I think you've really got to do that. You've got to bring yourself down to that base level when you're dealing with that kind of horrible terrorist type stuff. And I'm not saying it makes you proud or it's something to be proud of, but it's effective. And sometimes being effective is more important than how you look. I suppose it depends on what you're trying to achieve. Excuse me, getting a bit nasally. Right, how many people have we got? We don't have that many, but let's dig into this. I found this one, which is just out, Newsweek. I think it's reporting a piece from the South African newspaper, the Sunday Times, right, which was published, and this was published yesterday. So a group of South African scientists have pleaded for help, saying they are trapped in an isolated base on a cliff edge in Antarctica with a team member who has become violent. So one of the team has been accused of assault and threatening violence against his colleagues, according to the South African newspaper. The South African's Environment Minister has confirmed that an assault had taken place. So this is the overwintering team, apparently, because if you think it's coming into spring in the northern hemisphere, so we're now going into winter in the Antarctic. And this group would remain in the remote and extreme environment during the winter months. Some 10 of their 15 months at the base would be spent in isolation, but may now be in danger from one of their own members, who is accused of being mentally unstable. So members will have undergone psychometric tests to ensure they could withstand the stress of the isolation, but the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment, obviously that's the department they're running under, which manages the South African National Antarctic Programme, now plans to retest them. It's a bit late. It's a bit late in the day. These guys are stuck. So South Africa's isolated Sane 4 Antarctic base is cut off from the world for the next 10 months because of the winter weather. A member of the overwintering team has reportedly sent an email to the South African government accusing another team member of physical and sexual assault. Oh dear, his behaviour has become increasingly egregious and I'm experiencing significant difficulty in feeling secure in his presence, the email said. It's imperative that immediate action is taken to ensure my safety and the safety of all employees. The writer, they're taking an awful lot of care here not to disclose the sex of the person that wrote this email. The writer called the man's behaviour deeply disturbing and said he had created an environment of fear and intimidation. Welcome to the UK. I remained deeply concerned about my own safety, constantly wondering if I might become the next victim. Concerns have been raised after the team member's behaviour before this point. Oh dear. There was still an opportunity for the FA Agulhas 2 to evacuate the team member before it departed Antarctica. The only way to leave the base now is through emergency medical evacuation to a German base around 186 miles away, according to two sources with inside knowledge as cited by South African media. Surely the base commander should have access to restraints or some form of termination device if required, you know? They had all the time to remedy the situation, but they simply buried their heads in the sand, hoping that it will go away, one source said. They were informed about the problem as early as December. Oh dear. Newsweek has contacted, December would be the middle of summer, wouldn't it? Newsweek has contacted the DFE via email for response. South African Environment Minister Dion George confirmed that an assault had taken place. He said he would be talking with team members to assess it for himself. There was a verbal altercation between the team leader and this person. Then it escalated. Then that person did physically assault the team leader. Whoa. Can you imagine what it's like? It's close quarters and people do get cabin fever. Can be very... You're making excuses. Think. Just making excuses. Or is this a thing type? Is this a thing type incident that's ongoing? That would be cool. Wouldn't it? Yeah, I don't think they do use UFOs to take stuff in and out of Antarctica. So that's quite interesting. So, right, what else is happening? Tulsi Gabbard has ruffled India by claiming that, or not India, had ruffled the Bangladesh by claiming that they have the makings of an Islamist caliphate. And the Bangladeshi government has refuted that. But having said that, there's an awful lot of violent protest ongoing in Bangladesh just now. I don't think everything's good in that country. What else is happening? Greenland. Oh, yeah, we knew about Greenland, didn't we? They got the Democratic Party got in. Hello, Espresso Mechanic. How you doing? So they got in, and they're still... Trump's still going on about buying it. You think it's all smoke and mirrors, this Trump and Greenland thing and Trump and Canada thing? Is it just, because he's a bit of a showman and a blusterer, isn't he? And is he just putting that stuff out there to keep you on the back foot while he quietly gets on with other stuff? I don't know. I know that Tesla shares aren't doing very well right now. And there does seem to be a concerted campaign against them, especially in Europe. And we showed you some of the adverts that have been put up on billboards and things like that on Friday. So that kind of campaign doesn't come cheap either. So who's funding that? You immediately have to think of people like Soros and Schwab, because they really don't. They don't like Trump, because the problem is he's not a neocon. He's not a globalist. It'd be different if somebody that was a globalist had got in, regardless of which party they were in. For instance, look at what's happened in the UK, because they're all really globalists, aren't they? There would be no real difference who gets in. And that even when you boil it down, when you look at Farage, he's not what he says he is he? I think he's kind of revealed himself again. He does this every so often. He forgets that he's playing, what part he's playing, and he lets something slip, and I think he's done it again. So you can't change, you can't effect change in a system from within when that system is so locked down and so entrenched as our political systems are. It's got to come from outside. It's really got to. I mean, the Scots did it with their devolved parliament because most people don't care, and they thought they were setting things up so that they would be all right, Jack, but they weren't. And effectively, all that happens now in Scotland is nobody gets a clear majority, and everybody has to make a coalition. Hence, the SNP had to team up with a lunatic Green Fringe. For the last, God knows how long, 13 years or whatever. So it's been awful, but it doesn't matter who gets in Scotland, it's going to be awful. Yeah, you don't want to join a cult, mate. Beats and tapes, you're right. You don't want to join a cult. Right. So, what else we got? We did the airport thing. Right. Where are we now? Let's see what we can talk about. Let's have a look at Twitter and see what's going on there. See if there's any updates. Oh, what do you think of Starmer? Because Labour Party, right? Labour Party meant to be for the common man. It didn't start off well, clamping down on those protesters at the Southport riots, and really, I think, and this is just a personal opinion, but going well over the score when it came to locking people up for expressing an opinion. So didn't really enamour himself to us very well there. I mean, he maybe thought he was being strong and leadershipful, but he wasn't. He didn't impress. He certainly didn't impress me, and probably hasn't impressed many of you guys. So, but we look at him, the Labour Party you think was the people of the common man, and what they do now, cutting benefits to people. And yeah, okay, I can understand that some people on benefits are benefit cheats or frauds, or they just want a quiet life. They're fed up working, or they don't want to work and think they can milk it for everything they can. But that's not everyone. And, I think people that genuinely, I remember when Andrea's mum was very ill and they took her benefits off her. This woman had terminal cancer and they took her benefits off her, which was just crazy. Then they reversed the decision and gave her more money, but to have to put someone through that at end of life is ridiculous. And yeah, you can say that, okay, that was a Tory government, but do you think this government's any real difference? Because like we always say, the aims of government are generally the same. All they want to do is control the population and feather their own nest. And Starmer seems to be doing this quite effectively, because apparently he's been spending money that's not been properly tracked. Surprise, surprise. Wonder, wait till he gets the bill for David Lammy's biscuits. It's just ridiculous. But you don't expect a Labour government to be doing things like cutting the NHS and cutting benefits and going after poor people, or do you? Because did Tony Blair not really do away with the traditional Labour government when he became New Labour, which effectively just became a slightly left-of-centre version of the Tory party? And now I would say is actually the Labour Party is probably more authoritarian and more right-wing than the Tories are. It just boggles the mind, doesn't it? It just boggles the mind. But yeah, it's quite interesting. So we now have a Labour Party that's more authoritarian than a Tory party, and everything's still the same. We're still in the shit, except we're in the shit and they're cutting all benefits. They're making people's lives hell, and they want to go to war. And then we get people on Twitter going on about, the aircraft carrier is apparently going to get, when it's in for its first refit, it's going to get a steam catapult, or it's maybe not a steam catapult. It's going to get a catapult launch system because they use electromagnetism, I think, these days, like railgun type technology. But anyway, so it's going to get a catapult launch system and arrestor wires and everything, so it can fling planes into the sky quickly rather than rely on their short takeoff. That means the planes can carry more ordnance and be more effective, which is great. Until you realise that we didn't buy the right planes. This is the part that fucking boggles the mind. Why did we bother building 2 aircraft carriers when we went and bought F-35Bs? Now, F-35Bs are the standard, more or less standard version of the F-35. The F-35C is the one with beefed up landing gear for catapult launching and carrier landings using arrestor hooks. In-flight refueling, and has bigger wings, allowing slower approach to the carrier, and bigger fuel tanks, so it has a better range. But no, we didn't buy them. We bought the regular ones. And I think we're contracted to buy 48 of them. I think we've had 47. We've had 48 delivered. We lost one already. We've got 47. I think we're contracted to buy 120 or something ridiculous. But it's not just the Navy. You can't make that shit up. These planes don't belong to the Navy. And they don't quite belong to the RAF either. They share them as required. Now, I might not be a military expert, but if you're in a situation where you're going to need planes on your aircraft carrier, do you not think there might be a situation where you might still need some at home for defence? No? Yeah? So anyway, I worked it out because the F-35 is a shit aircraft that needs a ton of maintenance, and you can only get it done at an approved service centre. It's like buying an Audi, you know. Except imagine if you had to ship your Audi back to Germany every time it went wrong. Because that's more or less what's going on here. You can either get it fixed in Italy or in the States. And we've got four of our F-35s are permanently based in the States, right? Because they're there for training purposes. So there's 4 of our 47 aircraft are in the States. At any one time, we've probably got 60% readiness. So that takes us down to what, 24-ish? 24 ready? Off that 24, some will probably either be broken or about to drop off. But even if we said 24, right? And let's say you need to keep 12 back for the RAF, that gives you 6 each for your carriers. 6. What are you going to do with 6 aircraft? How do you lose one? Well, I think it crashed, mate. It crashed. Anyway, so you realise that when we go on exercise, with our aircraft carriers, we borrow F-35s from the US to make up the numbers, because we've only got 4 or 5 available on the day. And then of course, you remember you're using the wrong plane because you're using the B instead of the C variant. It's just, who makes us shut up? And the thing is, you can't really, well, you probably can blame the government to a degree, but the people that run the mod really should be fighting their case here. Because now we're looking really stupid because we can't put a carrier assault or carrier battle group to sea. And apart from that, our aircraft carriers keep breaking down. This is embarrassing. Rule Britannia. Britannia rules. No, it doesn't. This is truly embarrassing, especially when you come from a Navy background. I'm quite disappointed in the UK. We really have let ourselves go to shit. So, yeah, that's how we lost one. It crashed. Not good at all. Right. Diane Abbott. Up to 1.2 million people could lose between 4 and 6k per year by 2029 from PIP changes. That's personal income payment. So that's people that are on benefits for disability. Like Ben. Yeah, that's great. But we still seem to be able to pay loads of benefits to other people. Uh, Jesus Christ. I'll keep that one for Friday. That's a cracker. I'm going to keep that for Friday. Why are people posting on X that the website is down, X is under attack, and yet I'm looking at it on the website? Is that current? Yeah, that's not current. That's not the case, mate. I think maybe you're under attack. Oh, what we got now? Happening? Oh, still getting I'm getting loads of video footage from the Russians and Ukraine these days. I think the JFK files are getting published tomorrow. I am not holding out much hope. I don't know. Have I watched King of UFOs yet, John? I haven't watched King of UFOs. What's that? Is it a show or is it a dramatization or something? I see people talking an awful lot about this Netflix drama, Adolescence. It's on YouTube and it's a funny one. I'll have a look at that. So has anyone seen this Adolescence show on Netflix? It sounds like woke shit, but I might be wrong. King Charles and oh my god. Oh, I've seen an awful lot of stuff. So I see they've been setting Teslas on fire in the States, including quite a lot of them, and dealerships and things. That's not a terribly bright thing to do. I can't understand why people are so upset by it. I mean, really? Is trimming down the government not a good thing? That's what I don't get. And we're doing it in this country as well. We're turning ourselves against ourselves. Because it's fine to slim down the government, but America seems to be in such a division that there doesn't seem to be any common ground between the left and the right. It's like there's no common ground. How can you be a swing voter in America? Because you're going to be hated by your former pals or your new pals. You know, it's just not going to work, is it? And they're doing it here because, you know, if they're going on about the benefits and cutting them and things like that. And you're getting people going on about, well, I don't want my taxes going to benefit cheats. Well, neither does anyone. I don't want my taxes going to benefit cheats. But that doesn't mean you punish everyone equally. Collective punishment is, after all, a war crime. So don't let the government turn you against other people. Just because some people are less fortunate than you are and are getting a handout, whether it be temporary or permanent. Because, you know, let's face it, look at that guy, Alex, the scaffolder guy that we interviewed, the Scottish guy that lost a leg as part of the thing. And I mean, he lost a leg. He was a scaffolder. He's not going to be scaffolding anymore, is he? He's going to find it hard to get employed gainfully doing something, you know? I mean, he's probably doing all right now, but I don't know if he is or not. But just losing a leg, it's everything else that goes with it. The trauma, the mental torture, you know? I mean, one of my mates lost a leg in a motorcycle accident, and I mean, he still feels the pain in the leg that he doesn't have. He says the leg that he doesn't have is more painful than the leg he's got. Both his legs were minced. under a Yulin Dodge 32-ton coal lorry. But one of them, they saved. But ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So don't let them turn you against people. You know, don't let them do that. Think about things for yourself. Don't believe everything you see on the TV or whatever. Well, I know you guys don't watch the TV, but don't believe everything you're told, because a lot of it is a load of crap. I mean, this adolescence show as well. People are talking about it as if it's like a social work study or something. It's remember, it's entertainment. It's not purporting to be scientific in any measure of the way. And people are saying things like the dialogue around adolescence proves a serious problem with young men not being raised to know they have to control their feelings. It's a fucking TV program, you know? It's not definitive academic research. People piss me off, they really do. It's not real life. It might purport to be real life, but it's not. It was written and scripted. People just seem to can't tell the difference between things that might... I mean, it's like the Blair Witch Project. Do you think that was real life? You know, found footage of whatever happened. Do you think that was real life? Because that's the kind of mentality that these people that are going on about have. I think the Pope's still alive. He's pulled back from the brink. What else is happening? Prime Minister Mark Carney met with the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Starmer. They discussed transatlantic security. Really? I mean, what transatlantic security concerns does Canada really have? You know, America's not going to invade it, right? Who's going to invade? Who the fuck could be bothered invading Canada? I mean, maple syrup and beaver tails. I mean, what else does it have? And if you're Canadian, don't take that the wrong way, because I love Canada. I think it's a brilliant country. But who's going to bother to invade it? Really? Why? Why would you? Wood? Plenty of other places to get wood, you know? That's probably not going to come out the way it was intended. Oh, jeez. Oh, here we go. The leaders discussed transatlantic security, the strong Canada-UK trade and investment relationship, their steadfast support for Ukraine. Well, Ukraine's getting smaller by the minute, mate. Smaller by the minute. Oh, good grief, that's a good one. That wasn't too bright. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. I just saw a guy set fire to a car, and it's unfortunately he set himself alight. And then in the background, you see him climbing the wall. It's at night. You see him climbing the wall, then running past the gates. And it looks like a scene from... What's the one with the Hulk? Not the Hulk, the Thing, and the Bendy Woman and Johnny Blaze. What the Fantastic Four? It's like a scene from the Fantastic Four as he sprints down the road ablaze. Oh, oof. Sorry, that was quite funny. I'll show you a picture. I'll show you a picture on Friday of the Antarctic station that we were talking about earlier, where the guy's gone nuts. Because when they said it's on the edge of a cliff, they weren't wrong. They weren't wrong. Several vehicles set on fire at Tesla in Las Vegas, police say. Yeah, there's loads of Teslas going up in smoke there. That's just not too bright. But hey, I told you. I told you. The guy, remember I said the guy said that X is under attack, the website is down. He's just replied, false alarm, a cat ate a wire. Yep, problem in jail, not in computer. We used to call it picnic. Problem in jail, not in computer. Oh, bloody hell. Sorry, that's I just had someone. That's back to people getting wound up about people getting benefits and things. I just had someone ask me why disabled people need cars when they get discounted train and bus travel. And if that statement doesn't sum up how little people understand about the material reality of being disabled in the UK, I don't know what does. He's got a point. Got a point. You know. You ever try taking your shopping on a bus? It's not fun. Somebody posted a picture today of the 1930s with open air swimming pools. Do you remember open air swimming pools? I do. I've actually swam in some open air swimming pools. My auntie used to take us to the one in Prestwick, the Prestwick Bathing Lake, it was called. And it was on the seafront because I think it used seawater, but it was like a pool, except it was open to the elements. And it was always freezing. somebody said in the 1930s, these bathing lakes must have been either the temperature was a lot warmer or people were hardier. I think people were just hardier because that bathing lake in Prestwick was always freezing, but we never refused to go. We always went, and we swam in it and played in it because we're used to it, I suppose. There's a job offer. Skywatcher. Skywatcher is looking to hire a full-time producer to help lead our content production. This person will play a pivotal role in helping share our research and findings with the world. Serious candidates only. Apply here. All referrals appreciated. Skywatcher. That's that's the people who are trying to say that you can manifest UFOs and get them to land and all that. So why do they need a producer? Because they're making up shit, aren't they? Yeah. Snow White comes out. Is it tomorrow? I think Snow White comes out tomorrow. I think this is going to be a disaster. This is going to be a disaster because not only have you got Rachel, whatever her name is with the hairy back. So, so we've got Rachel Ziegler, who's Snow White, and you've got Gal Gadot, who's a very prominent Israeli. People just aren't going to go and watch this, are they? I think it's done. They should just have binned that movie. They really should have. I watched Escape from New York last night with Snake Plissken. Bloody hell, that was a really young Kurt Russell in it. Really young. He didn't look like Kurt Russell. I thought, is that really Kurt Russell? I don't remember him looking like that. But then when I watched that the first time, I was really young as well. I'd have been, I would have been 19, something like that. Yeah. So, yeah, I thought, bloody hell, that is a young Kurt Russell. But, yeah, it was good. It's all right. It stands up okay. Not bad. put the bakery. The bakery wasn't on the postcode system. You know, so whenever I tried to send stuff from here, I usually had to go and take it to the post office because they will pick it up for free, the post office these days, when you send stuff. But because it doesn't come up in the postcode system, they wouldn't do it. So I spoke to the postman about it, and he said, "You just fill it in online." He says, "No, add it." So I did, and they did. And they added it like straight away, and then about 3 days later, I got a letter from TV licensing saying you don't have a TV license. I just filled in their online form, which is incredibly onerous. You have to say the same thing 3 times. I don't know if that's some kind of like, you know, Beetlejuice type thing. But you have to actually answer the same questions 3 times. And I filled that in saying we don't have a TV. You know, it's a bakery. We're not sitting around watching TV. Yeah, the old Lido at Prestwick, Julie, is now a children's play park. Hamza's brother-in-law's been a bother again. No driving license or no insurance or something like that. You get caught. Ouch. Olga Basova, who, as you know, our friend Ed has a massive crush on. She's reporting that Kursk is finished. It's now totally Russian again, and 70,000 Ukrainians are there permanently. Ouch. Oh, good grief. Oh, good grief. These guys are fucking so far up their own arse, aren't they? Adolescence creators want the show aired in Parliament. It's a fucking show. I don't pay tax for our representatives to sit and watch the telly, or do we? Do we? I think we might. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. The Department of Work and Pensions apparently estimates the PIP fraud rate at 0%. So why is Labour having such a go at it? If that's true, it might not be true, but who was it said it? It was a woman, so that's probably a journalist, Guardian journalist, and the Times. She's probably right. I'll give her the. I mean, it's not a hard thing to check. What do you think about conscription? Would you let your children go? Would you go if you were called up to fight for your country when no one's actually attacking us? Would you? Don't think I would. Huh? Jesus Christ. Mark Carney's really fucking pulling out all stops, isn't he? Carney says the French fleur de lis, the English rose, the Scottish thistle, and the Irish shamrock on the Montreal flag symbolise the diversity of Canada. Bullshit. That's what I say. I say bullshit. I meant to say there was a big disaster at, was it Pennsylvania University? During a St. Patrick's Day celebration, the roof collapsed or something. Students injured or not too good. Not too good at all. Oh. What time is it? We've done nearly an hour, chaps. I think that. Oh, Hatchy. Are you live, Grump? Yeah, I'm live. Sorry. Hatchy says being a scaffold at the moment seems a good idea, and a lot of people didn't have central heating. Well, that's true. We didn't have central heating either, Hatchy. We didn't have central heating either. In fact, we didn't get central heating until after we came back from Hong Kong. Of course, that was actually quite a good thing because, oh bloody hell, I spent the first year back from Hong Kong. I spent in a parka. I was cold all the time because it was really warm out there all the time. Nobody, I think, would go. Nobody would go to fight for our country, because I don't think our country is the problem. I think the problem are the people that purport to run it. That's the problem. Right. I might be back tomorrow night. I might not. I'll see how I feel, but I think we've covered a little bit, and I did a little bit more in depth. I don't know if this is beneficial or not. If you like this kind of thing, let me know. If you think listening to this old Scottish idiot talking nonsense is ripping my knitting, then let me know and I'll stop. Or I might not, but either way, I appreciate you coming along. Like, share, subscribe, and all that nonsense. Remember, you can always donate, should you wish, at ko-fi.com/Sergeant Grumpy. That's what keeps us going most of the time, because I don't have monetization on in the horizontal stream, although actually you may have noticed that there might have been an advert or two on the vertical stream. I only did that because they seem to put it out more if you actually monetize it rather than if you don't. So I might start monetizing stuff again, because I've noticed since we stopped monetizing, while you might get a good experience, we're only getting like 50 views on the horizontal stream. Now, we had over 4,000 on Friday nights all in on the vertical stream. So I might introduce monetization again. Don't castigate me too much. If lots of people joined the channel or donated, then I would turn it back off. But I'd probably set it on the lowest setting, so it's the least obtrusive for the viewer, rather than getting it flung in your face every 2 minutes. And you know, there are ways. I'm not telling you what to do, but there are ways. What else is happening? Oh, so apparently the Navy say our nuclear submarines are spending too long at sea. Well, where else would you have them be? Oh, good grief. What's the point of having a nuclear submarine that doesn't need to refuel or come up for air if you're not going to have it at sea? Thank you. I love you all. I'll play you out with something, not on the vertical, because you don't get to hear those lovely, juicy things. But I'll be back. Be back on Thursday at the latest. I might be back tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. And remember, look out for Sergeant Grumpy's daily briefing. It's usually 3 minutes, no more. Usually. Monday tends to be longer because I've got to catch up on the weekend. But look out for that. It'll drop. And I might actually I had some quite stupid moments today when I was recording it, so I might do a blooper reel. And if Hamza says something about his brother-in-law, I think Hamza might come back. He's been back a couple of times. It's always good to see Hamza. We do love him. So there we go. It's been great for you.
Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah.